Hey guys. So, I just got done delivering a message. One message, and now I want to deliver the next. So, this is actually more of like a conversation, but maybe there will be a message in this. I don't know. There's always a message in everything. So, anyways, let me tell you what I've realized. This is probably going to be part of like the Becoming series. So, do you want to see my outfit, by the way? I'm not quite sure why. Well, I know why. I wanted to show you because I think it's cute. But like, I'm not sure why it's so important to me. But look, cute. It's like these harem pants. Harem? No, because they're loose at the bottom. But anyways, it's very cute. And then my makeup. So I was saying in the other message, I am super tired because I've been working very hard. So I have dark circles under my eyes, which is kind of a first. In a way where it's so noticeable, it's kind of a first. So I chose to honor them by putting like makeup, and like this is my dark circles. I didn't exactly get it right. Like this is just my cheek, but kind of honoring them. So I'm happy they're my tiger stripes because I'm a hard-working woman, a teacher, leading the young generation. So what I wanted to say is that I've discovered something about myself, and now I need to experiment to know whether it's absolutely true, but I think I've discovered something about myself. So I've been having a situation with friendship, and this is so quintessential, so predictive actually, because I have things with friendship, and you would know this if you watched my video for our children, when friendships crash and burn. So I've already kind of talked about some of my friendship struggles and my woes, but I'm having an interesting situation right now where I'm struggling to be able to tell what to do, figure out what to do and how to address this situation with somebody in my life, someone new in my life who I'm not quite sure whether I want in my life. And the problem is that I realize, and the problem and the luck of this situation is that I realized that when I am highly emotional, I actually might be more clear-headed, clear in my thinking, and more decisive than when I am not emotional. And I was raised in a world where we were told that your emotions are not something to be trusted, and that you need to let yourself cool down, cool off when you are emotional before you choose to make decisions. You never make decisions, you never make big life decisions, big altering life decisions from an emotional place. You wait, you calm down, you see how you feel in the morning, you sleep it off. You don't make decisions in the heat of the moment because that's just emotions, that's just feelings, and that can't always be trusted. And I think that still is true for specific situations. But I'm realizing for me that there are situations, that's my stomach, I'm really hungry, I need to eat lunch. But I'm realizing for me, there are situations in which that's not true. And I think that that's connected to relationships. For me, I think that I am someone who is emotionally intuitive. I'm emotionally intuitive. And I think I receive the most insight when I'm highly emotional. I am not someone who's very emotional most of the time. I tend to be actually quite even-keeled. I don't know if I've always been this way. Maybe it's something I've worked towards. To be honest, I don't remember. I don't know. But I'm pretty even-keeled. If I'm stressed out or if I'm in a new beginning, then obviously I'm gonna have more emotions. If my hormones are going amok because I'm having my period soon, then it's gonna be a little different. But usually I'm actually pretty even-keeled. So when I'm emotional, it is like a big deal for me because it's like, oh, what's going on? There's something going on. And I had a moment the day before yesterday, on Thursday, where I was very emotional about this situation. And I felt a very particular way, very strongly, that I needed to end this beginning friendship with someone because we just were not compatible. And then So I wrote out a message, a long message to send to them. And then I decided to wait. I decided to sleep it off with the message and with the decision making, because I just didn't want to send anything without having my sisters check my message and all these things. And I'm glad I didn't send the message. So there's a balance to this. So I'm glad I didn't send the message because I think I needed editing, and it was just a first draft. And I wrote it really late at night, so I was tired. But there's a part of me that wishes I had felt so strongly at the beginning of the day, because then I could have edited the message and still been in the heat of my emotions and felt more confident with the decision I was making, because I've realized that once my emotions subside, I tend to not feel very strongly about anything. And I've realized that I make decisions based off of how I feel. And that's not me being irrational. That's me being intuitive and being smart, because my emotions tend to be correct. They tend to be true. If I feel something, there's a reason why. And with every relationship that I've had where I felt that there's something wrong and I'm not meant to be in the situation, I'm no longer friends with that person. We're not close. We don't have a connection. So that has always been the case. So I know at this point, I can trust my emotions when it comes to people. I know what I'm feeling. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that person. It simply means that we're not compatible for some reason. There's something that's not going to work here. And in the past, I didn't have strong boundaries or a very strong sense of I don't know, self-love, I don't know, self-respect, or respect for others, really, to the point where I would just kind of let myself be in connections despite feeling whatever I felt. But I'm not in that place anymore. And so it's very important to me that I don't repeat those, the ways that I was in the past. And so with this situation, I'm struggling a little bit. So because I'm not highly emotional about it the way I was on Thursday, I'm slower to react. I'm slower to be decisive and make a decision. And I'm considering so many more options than I was considering on Thursday. And while that might be helpful for some people in some situations, for me in this situation, it's actually not, because it kind of is one of those situations where it's like you do or you don't want it. You know, it is something that you are interested in or pursuing, or it's something that you're not. And you need to make a decision quickly, you know? And so now I'm like, ugh. Now I feel a little like caught up because there's so much more that I'm considering. I'm considering emotions, I'm considering whether I have all the information, I'm considering whether there's another way. And it's sometimes the simplest, scenario where it's A or B is the best. Sometimes options aren't great. Like, it's good to have a choice, but too many choices, then you just get into Seven of Cups territory where you're just a mess, And that's where I'm like, And so I'm struggling a little bit. It's exciting to know that I feel that I can actually trust myself when I'm emotional. But it's hard now because I'm not emotional about the situation right now. I'm actually just more so burdened by it. Because I can't stop thinking about it, because I feel that I have a responsibility to do something about it, because all these emotions have been triggered around it. And so now it's just going to be like I'm openly lying to myself and to this person if I'm not acknowledging what's going on. And I hate to be building something under the surface, like actively allowing something to build under the surface. I don't want to do that. I've been down that road before, and it's a nasty road, and it's just, I don't want it, So I'm trying to be decisive and make a decision, but I'm like, fuck, I need my emotions to come back, because they're my compass. And so now I need to be able to like tap into my heart space and crack open my freaking heart chakra so I can figure out what I feel, because I know what I feel, but I don't have the confidence in it. I need to build confidence in my feelings outside of the heat of the moment. I think that's it. It's not that I need to make decisions in the heat of the moment. It's that once the heat of the moment is done, because that's like the tower moment, whatever, that's the clarifying moment. Once the heat of the moment is over, I need to be able to hold on to the intelligence that I received and trust it. I need to not only be able to operate within extremes or to be one of those people who it's like, who's always considering, every option. I need to be able to trust myself. Once I know something, I need to trust that I know it, I feel it, and that's it, regardless of whether I feel as strongly as I felt about it in the beginning. When this was all starting, I still feel that way, just because the emotion isn't as strong, because emotions do wade, and I am a moon child. I'm a Cancer, and I've got a lot of Cancer. And this being the full moon, I think, is trying to teach me something about my emotions. Emotions, they go up, they go down, but they don't entirely disappear, Even when the moon is a new moon and you can't see it, it's not gone, it's still there. And so even when my emotions are at that point where it's like I can't see them, I can't feel them really, they're not gone, they're still there. And I need to be able to know what I feel, no matter the percentage level of like visibility, you know what I mean? Or feelability. So that's something I would like to master. I would like to be able to learn how to always be able to identify what I'm feeling, no matter how visible, how present the emotion is in my life. No matter if it is at the extreme or if it is at the minimum. I need to know what my emotions are telling me, because I feel that I am emotionally intuitive. I feel that I am emotionally guided. Where my information and my intelligence comes, I think it comes from my emotions. And there are other sources, I'm sure, but like I think I am someone who, my emotions say a lot. And because I know that, I really want to be really skilled at using that resource that I have, and understanding how it works to my best benefit, how I can utilize it to my best benefit, and not just when it's loud and screaming in my face. So this was a good conversation to have, because I've worked past the beginning, because I was just at the beginning of this idea and I was just thinking, okay, you know what, maybe I need to make decisions when I'm emotional. And it's not that. It's not that I need to make decisions when I'm highly emotional, because there is wisdom to sleeping things off, and I know that. It's just that I need to trust my emotions, and I need to not always have extreme evidence via being highly emotional in order to know what my emotions are telling me. I need to be able to hear the whisper of my heart, not just the screams of my heart. And so that's what I'm working on, and I'm thinking about. That's what I'm gonna work on and think about more, because you guys are watching me think through this. I didn't have any of these thoughts before. I only had that beginning thought of highly emotional and what I grew up hearing. So now this is a new layer that I am realizing I would like to master, because I think it's important, and I think it could be super beneficial for my life, and for my relationships with other people as well. Because I go in and out of feeling things for a lot of people in my life, even the people I love the most. Because I am an emotional person. I'm realizing I'm an emotional person. I really do wax and wane. I really am the moon. I really wax and wane. I really go through mood swings, which I didn't realize. Because when I think of mood swings, what I think of was like, she's happy, then she's sad, then she's, and that's not me. But I do go through mood swings in terms of how I feel about people. And I've had a simplistic view of emotions for a while when it comes to myself, in terms of feeling like, if I'm not extremely comfortable or passionate about something, maybe it's not meant to be. And I don't think that that's really my own thinking. I think that's because of a lot of indoctrination. There's a lot to unlearn, because I think there's a lot that's taught about emotions that's not true. And I think that I just think that we don't know half as much as we think we know about emotions. And maybe that's something I'd like to work on and talk about more. Like, there's so much more to emotions, you know, than I think we give credit to. And there's such an intelligence there, but it's hard to hold on to because emotions wax and wane. They're not something permanent, you know, because they're so frequent in their infrequency and their I guess they can be elusive in that way. There's another word that I'm looking for, but I'm thinking about it. But yeah, because emotions are like that, where they come and they go, it's hard to study, isn't it? It's hard to study them, but it's not, because they're always there. That's the thing. The moon is always there. The moon's not going anywhere. You know, the ocean is always there. The tide is always there. It's just moving in and out, wax and wane. And we need to be able to study it when it's not in, you know, when it's out there. How do you still see it? How do you stay connected? How do you know what it's saying to you? You know, we need to be able to hone our hearing to the heart chakra and really be able to hear. Part of me wanted to do green under my eyes, and the reason I didn't is because I also didn't want to. But I think that there is a bit of an intuitive insight there, maybe to do green, because there is something about the heart chakra. And I did end up wearing green. So I think that there was something to that, why I felt connected to do green under my eyes. You know, there's something being said. And maybe I'll come back with green. But there's a beginning to this. There's something here. So I'll take some more time to think about it, and I'll come back and I'll talk to you guys about it. But yeah, this is just the beginning. It was nice to get my thinking process caught on camera. I've tried to do that a couple times so you guys can see how I try to break down new realizations, but I haven't always gotten the chance to. But actually, I've been able to do that a few times on this channel so far. I don't know if a few times or maybe just once or twice, but this is at least the second, because in the very first Goddess Divine Feminism video that I posted, I had a moment like that where I had a realization, but it was different. That was different. That was more like, that wasn't based off of an already existing thought. That was like new information, completely new information. This is a building thought, so this is different, a different way of thinking. But that video was emotional too, very emotional. And I've been more emotional, more easily susceptible to crying than ever before. So I do think I'm healing my heart, because there was a time in my life where I was like, why the hell don't I cry? It was very weird. You know, I thought I was supposed to be an emotional Cancer crap, and I didn't cry. But these days, I'd be crying all the damn time. There's something about a lion in this heart, in this card. Mother of the salt waters, passion, wild love, open your heart, let love in. Do you see the lion? I see a lion very, very clearly. I also want to go to like Hawaii or like a tropical place where the water is beautiful, like Maui. But really, like, my dream is to live in like a place like Moana, you know, just beautiful water and like a beautiful island and just gorgeous. Or like a mountain town like Switzerland. But I want to live somewhere warm. I think I'm meant to live somewhere warm, so more like a place like Maui. I don't know why I'm calling it Maui, because I'm thinking about Maui, the character in Moana. I love Moana. Moana is one of my favorite movies. Tangled, another one of my favorite Pixar Disney movies. Moana and Tangled are like MVPs. I love those movies. Moana 1. Moana 2, I'm not a huge fan of. But Moana 1, I love that movie. And then there's so many others. There's so many good movies, so many good animated movies. Anyways, I'm gonna come back. I'm also really hungry, so I'll see you guys later. Let me know your thoughts. let me know your thoughts. Bye.